This isn't a subject that I really have ever talked about in great length before. I really haven't. And yes, the intro, I really did switch it up big time there, but we're switching it up. We're switching it up, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be the theme of the video. Maybe it's not going to be, but we could pretend it is. We can pretend at least. This isn't a topic that I've really talked on at great length. I've mentioned it here and there. I've discussed it here and there. I have a few little snippets of discussion about it, but it's not something that I've ever dedicated a whole video to. I guess that's why I'm dedicating a whole video to it right now. But that's aside the point. We'll forget about that one. I remember the first time that I was ever recognized because of this channel. And we have to go back until 2013 for that to have ever happened. I remember it was in early 2013, probably, I'd say, late January, early February of 2013. And first and foremost, we got to remember, back in 2013, this channel was really just known for one thing and one thing only to the general public. That was this pan pizza review. Back then, I had this one video that it essentially went viral in a sense, where I was sitting there. Maybe a lot of you remember it. I was sitting there with the Steve Harvey suit on, reviewing a Domino's pan pizza, as I would say back then. And for one reason or another, that got posted to Reddit, and then from Reddit to some other site, it got, thrown around the internet, to and fro, and it got attention, and as a result, the channel kind of blew up on a smaller scale, but that's where it kind of got its first big audience from, back in 2013, early 2013. Anyway, I remember the first time I ever got recognized because of my YouTube channel. I was taking a walk, and I remember I was walking. I was on the sidewalk, and I see like an ambulance, like from the local hospital or the local paramedics or something. Just an ambulance driving by. You think nothing of it. You think maybe they're just gonna respond to a call or something, just doing their job. And this ambulance pulls over to the side of the road in like a very sudden manner. And I kind of, look over because if you see that all of a sudden, you just kind of instinctively wonder, is everything all right? I mean, is everything okay in there? What's going on? And I was looking over at this ambulance that just so drastically pulled over. And the driver, like, essentially, he jumps out. I mean, he just swings the door open, just has it open and jumps out. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking that, my gosh, I might be witnessing like a medical emergency or something. Someone could be dying in the back, and here I am, the observer to it all, in an unfortunate turn of events, I believe, at that time. But lo and behold, the driver doesn't go to the back of the ambulance, doesn't go to help anyone out. He charges across the road, and he says, "Are you the guy that did the pan pizza video?" And it took me so off guard because, mind you, no one had ever recognized me regarding the channel unless I had known them personally otherwise. And I was shocked. I said, yes, that was me. Yes, I was the one that did the pan pizza review. And, I shook his hand and said it was a pleasure to meet. And it was just a very short encounter, but it was a very memorable one as well. It's one that kind of has stuck with me ever since, and it's something I'm never going to forget. But I remember that to be the first, really the first time I was ever recognized because of YouTube. And I remember at that time, it was a couple years ago, and obviously we all change in a few years. I mean, even looking back 5 years, could you say that you were fully the same person you are today? In some ways, yes. Perhaps in some ways, no. Sometimes the way we view things can change. Sometimes, our own levels of dealing with things can change. Things can change in time. And with that, I really wasn't recognized again in terms of the YouTube channel for a much longer span than you'd think, really. I was continually pumping out content, pumping out videos, reviews, and all of that good stuff at a very constant rate through 2013, through 2014, and through 2015. and I wasn't recognized again by anyone for the YouTube channel until early 2016. By then, the channel had grown a bit. It had got around, 40, 50,000 subscribers, which is a very solid amount, if you ask me. And that was after the Tosh.0 shoot. And, the Tosh.0 thing, it's an interesting story, and I'm going to get on a little bit of a tangent here. But during the Tosh.0 filming, when it was a very fun experience. I made a whole video kind of after the fact that discussed my experience on Tosh.0. And I mean, it was a fun time. It was a fun experience, and that's what I would, that's what I would call it. It was an enjoyable time. Daniel Tosh was really nice. He was, he was much more friendly than his on-air persona kind of depicts him. But he was very friendly, and I had no problems with the show itself. It was a very fun time. But I remember there was one issue that I did have, because I had done the show for really two reasons. Number one, I did the Tosh.0 episode for personal experience, because I thought it was, maybe a pretty unique and fun thing to do that I had never done before, and it was an opportunity, and I took it. The second reason, though, was to essentially promote the channel a little bit. They even described it to me when they were trying to get me to go on it in the first place. I remember they were kind of marketing it to me as a huge, advertising opportunity. They said, you'll have your channel announced to millions of people across the television airwaves. And that was one thing that was enticing at the time, to think you can kind of get the channel name out there a little bit, in a way that's kind of comfortable and not too in your face. And the big thing was I had told them to mention the YouTube channel name in the in the episode, to say, well, this is the report of the week, this is Review Bra, and so on and so forth. Well, of course, that never happened, and I was just kind of referred to as the pan pizza guy, or the food reviewer, or all of that. That was a little frustrating, but where I tie this in, when I, after the episode of Tosh.0 aired, the very next day, I was just going for a walk. This car pulls up to me. Again, it's always when I'm walking, I guess. This car pulls up to me, and he says, "Hey, Tosh.0. So, and, obviously, because they didn't address me as anything, regarding the channel. They didn't call me the Reporter of the Week or the Review Bra. So people were just calling me Tosh.0. And during that time, I was kind of recognized by a lot of people in just random situations, just when I was out and about at a restaurant, anything really, just in the days and weeks kind of following that episode, a lot of people would recognize me on the street, and then that kind of, dwindled down as the episode kind of got out of the main rotation into, smaller, more infrequent airplay. That kind of died down too, and that was fine. It wasn't too bad at all. I don't know what really changed since then. Since Tosh.0, which was in, I guess I was in, early 2016? I think it was in early 2016. To now, in late 2017. I mean, it is almost a span of 2 years. And as I kind of said earlier, things can change in that span of time. But back then I was, I don't want to say more extroverted, because I've always been an introverted person. I always have been. Always. I guess it was just a combination of maybe personal experience, my own existing kind of anxieties, you'd call it, and, just the natural progression of time as our kind of minds and personalities might change or adapt over the years. I guess that's just what it was. It was just a natural progression of the way events were, and just the way nature took its course, you can say. But in those 2 years since the Tosh.0 filming and today, I don't know, I've grown a lot more introverted when it comes down to it. And, the truth is, I don't really go outside too much. It's the honest truth. It sounds sad, and I know people are going to say, wow, that's so sad. But it's really not. I'm more I'm more of an indoor type of person. I'm a night owl. I still go out almost every day, to get food and to just get some fresh air, stretch the legs, take a little walk. What I'm saying, I guess, is I just don't really go out too much to the mall, or I don't go to stores that much anymore. I don't go around shopping. I don't dine in too frequently in restaurants anymore. Um, and that's just due to personal taste. I guess one of the things that kind of started to be a little unnerving to me, and I noticed this about a year ago, and I guess that had only discouraged me from wanting to go out any more than I do now. I remember about a year ago, after the channel broke 100,000 subscribers, I started getting recognized more and more as I would go out. And again, as I had said, I'm an introverted person by nature, and every time I would go out, I would get recognized, and then I would get recognized some more. And a lot of the time, the people that would come up to me were always very friendly, very courteous, very polite. Just happy to, I guess, see a familiar face on YouTube, you can say, and very friendly. Always happy to see me, ask for a picture, whatever it is, and that was always fine. That never bothered me, and that still doesn't bother me in the very least. But you would have a couple people who would kind of, cross the boundaries, be very intrusive, be rather rude, and it's just a little discouraging, I guess, to go into a public place and have someone just completely in your face like that when you're introverted to begin with. I mean, for those of you who are introverted, imagine just going out um, to get lunch, and all of a sudden you have someone in your face not leaving you alone. Yeah, that's no fun. Yeah, that's not enjoyable. I think you know where I'm coming from there. But what really did it for me was the fact that on more than one occasion, I would see people very obviously. I think some people do this for very disgusting reasons, in my opinion, where they try and take a picture of you in public in a discreet manner. And people think that they're being discreet. They think, oh, well, it just looks like I'm on my phone, and I'm just texting someone. And on more than one occasion, I'm afraid to say, I'll usually be standing online somewhere, or sitting, and I'll see people trying to take a picture of me kind of in public like that. And, I don't want to say it creeps me out, but it's just very unnerving. That's all that I have to say about that. It's very unnerving because I just figure, it'd be better to just come up to me and just say, hi, are you the report of the week? I'd say, well, yeah, I am. Or I guess if you came to someone that looked like me and they weren't me, they'd say that they weren't. Maybe if they had a sense of humor, they would mess with you and they would say, yeah, I am. And you could get a picture of some random guy that kind of looks like me. But no, if it was the real me, you could just come right up to me, say, are you the report of the week? I'd say, yeah, absolutely. If you want a picture, just take a selfie. I don't care. It'd be a good picture, be better than some blurry creep shot. It'd be in good lighting. It'd be just a nice picture. That's all. But anyway, I've had to deal with that on more than one occasion. And just for me, that's kind of what drew the line, and that's where I kind of, started thinking about it. I started thinking, well, do I really want to go out and have the possibility to deal with this? And as a result, I guess I just became a lot more introverted, and I don't want to call myself downright reclusive, though sometimes I can be. But that's just where it stands. I'm just I just keep to myself a lot of the time, and I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Just a little technical mishap. But as I was saying, and I want to clear this one thing up first and foremost, I guess the moral of the story is you might have a few bad apples out there that, maybe they just aren't thinking. I'm not going to go ahead and judge someone just based upon how they act in the immediate moment. You just might not realize that, and that's absolutely okay. It's fine. Sometimes we might all look upon how we might have, talked to someone, or, acted and wish, oh my gosh, I wish I could have redone that. But, no one's perfect, and I get that, and I understand it, and I won't be anyone to judge just in that regard. Um, but I guess the moral of the story is even if there are a few, you could say, bad apples that might have overstepped any sort of, personal space or personal bubbles or privacy, that's not going to ruin it for the rest of you. You know, if I ever am to meet a viewer or even a listener in public, I'm always happy to meet you. Always happy to, to take a picture with you. That's not an issue whatsoever. So don't take that as any sort of saying, if you see me in public, don't even talk to me. No, not at all. If you ever see me, I'll be happy to get a selfie with you or anything of that sort. So, number one, that's not even an issue. Number two, what I did want to say though, and I think this is something that a lot of people don't really, there's no little booklet about this. Well, actually, maybe there is. I don't think I'm qualified to fully speak on that matter. There might be several books on this matter. I really don't know. But I was thinking, if you ever see someone, this is purely based on personal experience. But if you were ever to see someone who, like, you recognize online, like someone who you see on YouTube or a celebrity or whatever. I don't consider myself a celebrity, and admittedly, I'm not big into the celebrity culture. Like I'm telling you right now, I could be standing next to a complete A-list celebrity online at McDonald's or something, and I wouldn't recognize who they are. If I saw, Glenn Hauser walking down the street, he does a shortwave broadcast, I'd recognize him, but I might not notice the latest, chart-topping musician or hotshot actor or whatever. I might not recognize him. But this goes for anyone, whether you come across any sort of I guess public figure. The one thing that I always think that a lot of people might not really think of, and something that is very simple, just be respectful. That's all where it stands. Just be kind, be respectful. I think that really solves all the problems right there. Just remember, the person that you're seeing is still a real person. They're not a soulless shell of a human being, as far as I know. They're people too, just like you, just like me, just like all of us. Just be kind and respectful. Just say, hi, excuse me, are you so and so? And I might say, well, yeah, I am. I might say no. And I say, hi, it's great to meet you. Can I get a picture? Can I get a selfie? Can I get an autograph? And at least in my case, if you were to come up to me and ask like that, I would be most happy to oblige. I would absolutely be most happy to oblige, and it'd just be a very happy, positive encounter for all parties involved. Sometimes you'll get people that'll come up and they'll be all in your face and are trying to sneak pictures of you, which can be really creepy. And I understand some people might be doing that to try not to violate your privacy to begin with, even though it has the exact opposite effect. But even just simple courtesy and just directly coming up and asking for a picture, at least in my case, that's what I always think could work out the best, and that's just my 2 cents in that regard. Just be polite, be respectful, be courteous and kind, and, usually I think everything would work out for the best. I can't say that for everyone. I mean, some people are just genuinely terrible people, and you could be the nicest person in the world to them, and they'll still treat you like garbage. So I can't guarantee you that for everyone, but I think most people would just reciprocate that kindness onto you, and it'd just be a wonderful experience for everyone involved. That's just a short little monologue of just some random thoughts I had on my mind this evening, and something I just wanted to share with all of you. I was kind of feeling motivated, and I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to set up, just going to turn the light on, and just press record and share my thoughts at this midnight hour. It's like, I think it's 3 a.m. right now, so I'm just sitting here burning the midnight oil, and was just sharing a few thoughts that were on my mind about just getting recognized and really, what to do if you meet a public figure, So that's all that I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, we still got some of those monetization problems. I'm starting to come to a realization of a possible reason as to why. I have a feeling that it's due to brand names in the titles. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know how accurate it is. It's a theorem. It's my theory. But I think it's brand names in the title that does it. But we'll see. If you want to help out with this channel, though, help keep it on, I guess, on YouTube, on the air, keep it going smoothly and steadily. Your support is always welcome via Patreon, which you could find in the thing above, I guess, the cards, the bubbles, the little blobs to my left and or right, and also in the description. And also we have merchandise available on the Teespring store as well, which you could purchase. If you're interested, we're going to be updating it with some holiday-themed designs coming up, so stay tuned for that. And also, speaking of tuning in, don't forget we also have our little radio show on SoundCloud that you could find out about in the description there, and also in the comments. Well, thank you for watching. Have a great week, a great weekend whenever this is uploaded. Have a great whatever it is. Thank you for watching. Take care. I'm your host, the Report of the Week.